You're like, come back, whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to relocate. So, yeah. Anyway, so, does anyone else, like, remember? Because it, like, my phone told me it was going to update, so I thought you just had to, I had to restart it for it to update. And apparently, nope. Apparently, you have to hit the update and you hit install now, and then it just basically does a restart of its own. And it was supposed to automatically do it, and then I was like, oh, and it had set it for a timer and everything, and I was like, even though I was like, I restarted it, so okay, but after it was restarted, why didn't it start updating? Why did it keep pushing it back, and why did it keep telling me, and that it was scheduled for later, a few minutes later, and then it just never came about. It just never seemed to work. It just kept pushing itself back, and I was like, what are you doing? That was Sarah. Yeah. So that was my own, like, okay, now this video, so just ignore the first 16 minutes or whatever. Alright, so this video is gonna be about abuse versus Bdsm. Yeah. Because Max just figured out in there that degradation isn't abuse, even if it's used as a punishment. And then I was like, oh, so in Bdsm, even like, oh, even if you're into spanking and shit like that, and like even your hard limits or whatever, no one's gonna touch those or use those hard limits to punish you. So probably what I read in those books are on. And it's more and more suspicious what people are trying to make me sign. Crap, they're trying to be like, because there were no limits and there was no real like restrictions. There was no hard limits we talked about. Not really. I told them like a little bit more hard limits, but then they kept trying to drag a guess out of me. So, and I said maybe, but still no. Yeah, no. Because I had answered on the test or whatever, I was like, oh, I'm more open to things. So I was like, oh, I'm willing to more try things. After, obviously, I'd be more willing to try things and push my limits a little bit. But not my hard limits. I'm willing to try more things that I wouldn't be comfortable with. Normally, because I love and trust them, and then they said, and they seemed to enjoy it. And I was willing to go out of my comfort zone and try new things for them. And with that mindset, I said maybe a few times, but I never said yes. So that was fishy. Yeah, it was not that was bad. Yeah. And like for the contract and everything, because I was like, I read a lot of stuff and they all talked about, oh, your hard limits and like rules and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it just said write your name, and I also had to pay them money for it, and they had to send it to me, and then I had to send it back, the mail and crap like that, and I would have to sign it, and I had to, yeah, you just put who's the sub and who's the dominant, and you both sign it, and that's it. And the agreement just says you're gonna obey them. No. Because it's not like, oh, you're gonna obey them just whenever you want to. Just, you're supposed to obey them even if they, like, their job is, they're not supposed to do anything that's gonna harm you, like, mentally, emotionally, physically. They're not supposed to do that if they're good dominant. Then they respect your limits and your restrictions. But it doesn't say that. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It just says to obey them. Yep. Fuck no. That is BS. Okay. Yeah. So. I think it's gonna be fun. Okay. Yeah, no. Okay, so it's like giving random notifications in the background about things being updated. Does this work? No. Trying to follow the light because we didn't like it down here. Yeah. No. And then there's like maybe comic music upstairs. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Oh. Keep falling on the stairs. Okay. Okay. I think this should be good. Maybe around here. I like the shadow. Yeah. I was like, I can hear stuff, but I don't think you can hear stuff, so it should be good. It's only if I try really hard. Okay, so, yeah, whatever. Okay, so, we're gonna go back stairs. Probably, yeah. I can't find a place to sit. Okay. Anyway, so, no. Degradation, and even, like, in situations of punishment, they're not supposed to go over your hard limits. And they're not supposed to... Oh, fuck yeah. I forgot about that. Fuck. The splashing. Light switch here. And it's broken, and it's broken, and it's broken, and it's broken. Because normally, it just twitches. Like, it just does that once. Okay, apparently. I wanted to find all the lights and just... Yeah. That's what the light did to me. Now, not comfortable, but whatever. Random bag here. Whatever. So I can't put my foot here. Oh, never mind. This works. Putting my foot against it. What do I do with my other foot? Switch weight to my body. Okay, yeah. But you're not supposed to go over hard limits or anything like that. And I wouldn't do a contract. I might. Simplest contract. For the most part, not really. I was like, just agreement. I was like... And all I'm saying is that you promised to communicate with me. I was like, you gotta give me, like... you gotta give me a heads up when we break up. And you can't just ghost me. You have to tell me that we broke up. You just have to send a text. I might want to ghost you, but you're gonna have to reach out. And that I might just block you and try and ghost you. But if I was in a relationship, the only way we'd have to actually have like a relationship or whatever is if we were living together. And then I was like, I need to know, like, a couple months ahead, and mostly I just need like a 6-month guarantee because you may or may not be on a lease. So I need to know you're not gonna run off and not help with the rent, and you're just gonna vanish and ghost me in less than 6 months. So I'd be like, you promise, and he's on the contract, you sign, like, we make an e-doc or whatever they agree with, or we just sign a random piece of paper being like, hey, notify me and communicate with me if you have an issue, and you gotta stay with me for like 6 months, and if you want to break up and everything, and if we're in a Bdsm or any relationship, you should like give me some time to prepare and like let us work on it and see if we can like improve the relationship for like a week. Maybe only a few days, the times allow, but try and give me like a week. Or at least give me a week, if not just to break it, for the breakup, just to accept the breakup. And to let you go and to, like, help you move out or whatever. Like, give me a week. I'll need a week, okay? And you gotta tell me what's wrong, and we gotta see if, hey, this is something we can work on, or if this is like a no-go, or like, can we change this? Can we improve our relationship? Is this just something you want to like deal with? Especially for like a marriage, I was like, you gotta try therapy. You can't just like go straight to a divorce. You gotta talk about it and be like, why do you want a divorce? Explain. explained to me why we want the divorce, and can we work on this, and we're gonna try and work on this and change it, and if it still doesn't work, then maybe we'll go to a therapist and work on it through them and see if we can improve and work on it more there. And if it still doesn't work, and if it didn't work before, and like you weren't willing to change like at all, and you weren't willing to improve, then yeah, get divorced or break up. If it's a non-negotiable, if it's like a hard limit, then yeah, no. Like, if they thought like I was hurting them and I was being abusive, then I was like, no, you need to explain this to me. But yeah, we'll obviously stop everything right away. And we would probably stop everything anyway if you wanted to break up. We're just gonna go to the talking and not being intimate and crap like that. Yeah. Okay. So that was, yeah. Someone online was trying to be my mistress and crap like that. Made a video about that a little bit. And then started delving into deep, to like my interaction. Mostly, they called me a good boy, and then I thought about, oh, let's think more about BDSM and let's go take a test and then think more and more about BDSM and stuff like that. Something new and exciting happened, and so we thought more and more about everything. We overanalyzed everything again. But we had a certain topic to think about, and that was BDSM. And then there's a lot of things that happen in BDSM, so. And then we're like, oh, BDSM is an abuse, even when it's punishments. Yeah. And like, okay, so I was explained to Vanillas. Because I thought something was funny, and I just figured it out, and I remembered. So there was this guy, and he's like, I married a strong, independent woman, and we have a good marriage and everything. We have a good relationship, and I respect her, and I love her, and I care about her. But because I respect her, and I care about her, and I love her, I have to do things that seem to be the opposite. She wants me to choke her, and to call her bad things, and to like maybe lightly smack her on the cheek or the butt, and be mean to her a few times. Mostly just call her a few names. And that's all BDSM. Choking, breath play. That's very vanilla. That's very, very light BDSM. And that's usually with being like, a lot of couples fall a little bit into the BDSM just because they're like, oh, we want to try a little bit more. We're going to experiment a little bit more. We're going to try new things. We want to stop doing the same things over and over again. We want to try something different. We want to try new positions and our new ways of having sex and being intimate and things like that. Just want to try something new. And there's also like swingers, stuff like that, just being like a couple going and trying new people. And then I was like, then they could also, I was like, there are many things, many different ways people can try new things in a relationship. They could have like an open marriage, so they could introduce other people into the marriage. And they could do swingers where they, as a couple, they go and they sleep with other people. Or the woman sleeps with another guy and like the husband watches or whatever. You know, I don't know. That's more of like in the voyeur. I think it's spelled like voyage. Voyager? I was like, is the Voyager? I'm not sure. I'm not the grid and I don't know all the terms. It's not something I'm into. But obviously, if whoever I liked and I really loved and had been in a relationship for a while and who I trusted wanted to try it, then I'd give them maybe. I'd be willing to. Only for them. Like, only for you. We can try it, and we can try the lightest and the smallest bit. And it would only, even if I became, like, okay with it, because it makes you happy and you like it, but I'm still not into it, then I became with it more regularly, but not hardcore. Yeah, because there's like Bdsm, and then there's like whips, chains, cuffs, floggers. It's more hardcore. Breath play is usually also seen as hardcore, but you call it breath play because you're like, that's when you're more choking and you're not like, oh, lightly choking. Restricts the air a little bit. No, you're like actually cutting off their air for a little bit. And you're not just making it a tiny bit harder for them to breathe. That there's a tiny bit of resistance. Yeah. Yeah, and then my brain's like, oh, remember, it seems like I was already doing BDSM because the guy let me beat him up. And he says, I was like, he had to be into me or something, because I don't get it. I told him, I was like, I'm going to beat you up if you come over here. And he also promised, he's like, I won't tell the teachers or anything, and I'll let you beat me up. Like, okay? And I was like, if you leave, I would like beat him up, and then I would like go away. If you come back, I'm going to beat you up again. And then he came back. So I beat him up again. And there were like other people around and everything. They probably didn't know our arrangement. I was like, I got his full consent for that. I didn't like him, and I got to take my hatred out on him. I was able to express anger. Yeah, so no, I beat him up, and my friend also helped beat him up because he consented. He wanted to be beat up. Okay. And then, later, and then I was like, but he consented. So, but I guess he wasn't as happy about and didn't like, when I did my own version of breath play. We didn't know what any of this stuff was called, but my hand was on his neck. Max was controlling his breath. Max said, and squeeze! I don't like you and you made me angry, so I put my hand on your neck and I squeeze a little bit, and you can't breathe. But you told me and you consented that I could hurt you, and you wouldn't say anything to anybody. When you first came over to play, that's what you told me. And you didn't tell me any changes, and you never said no. You didn't say I couldn't do that. You didn't say you were uncomfortable with it. You didn't tell me to stop. And when you told me to stop, I stopped. And then I did it again, because you didn't say not to. Yeah. Okay. Max wants to try BDSM and have a lot of fun. Max wants to play. Yeah, and then there's also, like, just role play. Okay, there's a lot of things. That's also why when she was like, oh, a little bit of, like, sexual, and I was like, but mostly non-sexual or whatever, like, I think she just wanted a BDSM relationship, but she wanted to hide it from the public. Yeah. Yeah. That's literally how it was. She's like, hey, you can be, like, my friend, and we can act platonic and in public, but in private, I want to be, like, more sexual, and it's going to be sexual and intimate. Yeah. be like, hey, like little thing you like, for people who are littles and everything like that, you just give them a safe place so they can get to play and like act like a little kid. Because they just means that they weren't able to act like a little kid. They felt like they had to grow up too fast. They didn't feel like they didn't really have a childhood. They felt like their childhood was gone and that they didn't get to do anything that other kids got to do. And that they didn't get to play all the time. They had all these responsibilities and they had all these worries and things they had to do. So they need you to take care of all the responsibilities and make sure everything's good, so they don't have to worry about anything anymore. So they can be like, oh, I can just color or play with this cartoon, and I can just run around and play with my toys. And I don't have to worry about bills, I don't have to worry about my job, I don't have to worry about anything today. I don't have to worry about any of my responsibilities. I don't have to cook, I don't have to clean, I don't have to do laundry, I don't have to do everything today. Or just for a couple hours. Like I need to relax, I want to de-stress. Just a way to de-stress and to overcome some trauma and stuff like that. And then even if you're not like, if you don't have any trauma and don't have any issues, whatever, you can just be like building more trust with your partner and stuff like that. Or just like sensation play. Like it doesn't have to be like sexual or whatever. Like, hey, I like soft things, other things. Okay, we're gonna blindfold you. Maybe use cuffs, probably not. If it's really light, then no. And you're just, you just put like a sleeping mask over your eyes. So you're more focused on your senses of like hearing, smelling, tasting, and texture and touch. So, and then people it's usually more like sexual. You're like, I get to tease you a little bit, like I'm gonna touch you a little bit. But it can just be like, oh, I'm gonna touch you with a feather, I'm gonna tickle you, I'm gonna let you pet something soft or put a soft blanket next to you, a soft pillow. I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna put like pudding in your mouth or something like that, feed you something sweet. Yeah, you don't have to worry about your surroundings or looking around or be distracted by other things. You're just solely focused on your partner and what they're doing. And it'll help like build trust and communication and things like that. You're a lot more focused and you're not distracted by your phone. You're not distracted by the TV, about things you have to do, things like that. Just a lot of ways to de-stress and just to have more fun. That's all it's really about. And I'm teaching myself and I'm learning more because I'm like, oh, I'm wrong. I thought it like teetered on the edge, and I thought it was a little bit of like abuse for punishments, only in punishments though. Because I was like, oh, because you have hard limits, but apparently what I was reading was wrong. It wasn't accurate. It wasn't all that accurate. They also probably didn't know as much. The authors didn't, and they were just trying to write a steamy story and everything. And they were trying to make it also so it has more action and there's like more issues and stuff they had to work on and overcome. The characters do. So they make it so they do the hard limits, the hard no's. They're like, hey, no, don't do that. It's a complete turn off. I hate that. Never fucking do it. That's triggering. Don't fucking do that. It's a no. You are not allowed to do that. It's not something I'm into, not something I'm willing to try. I'll never be into it. No. Just never. If you do that, like, we're done. We're over. I'm walking the fuck out. But they do it as, like, they did that in the stories, like, they would do those things as a punishment. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's wrong. That's not, you're not allowed to do that. Nope. Nope. And Max is also like, oh yeah, you don't gotta experience or like be a sub before being like a dominant. Like, if you're a switch and you're willing to, yeah, maybe experience like a tiny bit of it or whatever, but you don't have to be a full submissive, and you don't have to do it for long term or whatever. You just gotta be more conservative, and you can't just do whatever you want. You're like, oh, but I have more control in the relationship. Just like in a top or in a bottom relationship, just because you're the top or whatever doesn't mean that the bottom doesn't have any say and that they can't like control things. And also, I was like, even the BDSM, I was like, for the dominant, I was like, the sub is actually has control. Because they're controlling the dominant. Like, the bottom controls the top. Because, and then, like, even in a straight relationship, they're like, the woman controls the guys. Like, but I'm in charge of the relationship. I wear the pants in the relationship. Whatever. I was like, if you want to have sex, then you're going to do whatever the hell she says. Exactly. So who's in charge? She is. You think you're in charge. You make a lot of decisions and you do a lot of things. But when it comes down to it, what she says goes. Because you want to continue the relationship. You want the relationship to last. You don't want the relationship to end. You don't want to fight. You want the peace to continue. You don't want to cause problems. So you're going to do the same. I was like, it's the same thing with the bottom. I was like, if you want sex, then you're going to do what they tell you. And I was like, for the dominant, I was like, if you want them to play and you want them to behave and listen to you and do what you tell them, then you're not going to touch their limits. You're not going to do things they don't like. You're not going to do things that trigger them. You're going to try and make them happy. Yeah. Because you're just all trying to have fun and be happy and try new things and experiment. You're all just trying to have a good time. You want them to have a good time and you want to have a good time. Especially since if they're not having a good time, you're not going to have a good time. Unless it's an unhealthy relationship. Then you can be like, oh, only one of us is having a good time. But that's not a good thing. No. You both have to have a good time. Yeah. So I might be like a little bit of sub, a little bit of switch, but not really. Because I don't know how much of, oh, like, I'm not in the control situation, but I really love and trust you, so I'll let you handle it, you know? Let you handle some responsibilities and stuff like that. I was like, I don't know how much of that is in, like, a normal relationship, so I don't really know. The thing, I'll have to experiment and figure it out later. Yeah, I was like, I'll probably figure out and experiment more just by being in a relationship and reading more stories. I have more knowledge. Real stories, real people. I should... idea for later. I need to follow and, like, watch, like, this BDSM couple or whatever. Because I was like, you have the answers. You have experience, and you're a consenting couple. You're just a normal couple with just a few kinks and stuff like that. You just try new things, try other things that people don't see as normal. Yeah, that's all it is. Okay. Yeah, but, no, and there's also an issue about people pretending to be submissive, trying to be doms and everything, but that they actually are abusive. So be careful about those.